Hi gang, Ed Dale here, and it's day 23. We are on the downhill slope, and we have moved from traffic to today's topic, which is conversion. Now, if we've done the phrase work right, and we've done our traffic work correctly, we'll now be getting decent traffic numbers. I know quite a few of you are getting good traffic numbers, and that's our first challenge. For some of you at this point, you may not be getting any traffic numbers at all. And look, I really hope you did yesterday's lesson. And at least if you haven't installed Google Analytics or Stat Counter, install the tracker that we've made available to you. Now, the cool thing about tracker we made available to you guys yesterday is that it also is able to track for you the people who are clicking off your page. And this is really, really important because that is conversion, right? We want people to come in. Looking at it clinically, we want people to come in one end, have a look at your article and think, cool, I want to know more. And then get them to click off on the link. And we need to record that because the difference between the number of people coming to your landing page, wherever it happens to be, to then converting off is the conversion rate. And then there's another conversion rate, right? And that is the number of people whichever affiliate program send them to, compared to the number of people who actually buy. Now, at that stage, as I say, if you're getting 1 in every 200 people who have a look at the affiliate offer buying, you've done well. You really have, because most things I find don't sell well and don't convert well because they completely miss the whole point. However, I'm going to teach you all about it over the course of the next 2 days. And so there are 2 ways we could go. And I've got to say, the last few years in the 30-day challenge, I've had step-by-step boilerplates for these conversions. And you know what you're going to get if you use step-by-step boilerplates? You get a whole bunch of stuff which all sounds bad and ends up sounding like a used car salesman. I really, really don't want that to happen to you. So I'm going to try a different approach this year. I'm going to show you some key principles, show you some amazing free places on the internet where you can learn how to do copywriting. But really, for the purposes of this challenge, you need a solution now. So the best way is just to write stories. And I'm going to give you an absolute classic example, which literally fell into my lap yesterday. And some of you may have already seen this on the blog. Yep. It's all about a packet of opened Pokemon cards. Now, this auction, and again, I reference this auction on the blog, and you'll also have PDF notes available because I want to show you examples of what I'm talking about on the training section of the site. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to go to the training section of the 30-day challenge site and grab all the support materials for today's lesson. So with this particular story, somebody sent me through Facebook this really cool story about somebody who was trying to sell. It was a mum who had some huge number of kids. I think it was 5 shopping, and it was just a nightmare trip. And the kids snuck in a packet of Pokemon cards, which offended no end, so she decided to sell them on eBay. Now, something that I think costs about $2-3 in the US, sold on eBay. They're open, right? An open packet of cards, I think sold for about $161, which is pretty extraordinary. Not bad for probably what was half an hour's work. And this is really, really impressive to me. So what I want you to do now is grab that PDF and read through that document. And that's how you should aim to write. That, to me, is copywriting perfection. It's an engaging story that never for once do you think you're being sold to. Never once. It's viral. Have a look at this on this slide here. If you can't read it, it's 59,765 people that had a look at this auction at the time I took this photo. Extraordinary. And that's the real power. And you know what the trick of it is? The trick of it is to not sell. She doesn't sell once. Not once. She just tells a great, engaging story which people can relate to and can remember. And that's going to be something that I'm going to teach you how to do today. But somebody else tipped me off, on the blog to something which I found quite extraordinary, because she came across as as, just a mom who was out there just trying to do, best she can. What an awesome punishment. I often threaten the kids with eBaying their favourite items if I didn't compliance. So, you really associate with it. However, I did a little bit of searching on the internet after a tip-off. Check this out. Fiction writer discovers eBay. This is from 2005, and the same eBayer managed to drum up hundreds of dollars for her son's unremarkable, somewhat scuffed baseball by attaching 1,237 words of entertaining drama to the ball's photograph. Now, I think this ball ended up going for over $700, $700, I believe. And as the time they're pointing here, it's 27 cents a word for a first draft, which is, as they point out, not bad for a fiction writer beginner. But I think this person's a little bit more experienced than we would have let on. And again, for your edification, I've been able to locate that copy for you, thanks to the wonders of Google. And I use the power of Google for good rather than try to dig up fellow 30 challengers' websites and skank them, like the scum-sucking, rock-dwelling, lizard, low-belly piece of scum that some people are. No, I use it for good to track down copy for you so you can use it for examples for the types of things that you can actually use in your business. So you'll also find there's another document with the PDF document with this baseball copy, which is just great. I've also, doing a bit more selling, noticed that she not so successfully sold a couple of patterns using exactly the same engaging copy. Now, it's interesting if you look at the copy that she used for selling her knitting patterns compared to the copy of the baseball and the copy that she used on the, come on, Ed, come to it. Pokemon cards. Oh, that'll get people annoyed right there. I stalled. I should have edited that out and been more professional. But, anywho, if you look at the two differences, to me the differences is the quality of the story and the depth which she goes to explain the story. I think she gets more involved in both the ones that made a lot more money that way. But this person's an old hand. And, of course, like any good story, you always want a kicker. And the unexpected element of this story is, look at this. Obviously, after her baseball experience, she figured that, hang on, I think my family deserves a trip to Disney World. And so there's this magnificent idea. Here's my proposal. The winning company pays to send our families to Disney World, and all 13 of us will wear T-shirts with your company name and or logos on for the 10 days that we're there, says seller. Now, the bids for this family advertising package deal have already gone up to $14,100. Now, at the time of the auction, the reserve hadn't met. There are 41 bidders and 2 days to go. And if you know anything about eBay, you know that it's going to go a lot higher if she's that far out. This might become one of the biggest advertising opportunities on eBay. Check out the auction. This was on the 23rd of June. Now, unfortunately, my hacking skills couldn't actually give you the kicker of this story, whether it all worked. But just innovation plus and just brilliance. And that's really what I want you to do is be brilliant by not even trying. Just by using your own words, your own experience, your own stories. Don't make stuff up. Just go into, because in the detail there is joy and there is pleasure and there is brilliance. And that's the thing. Because if I get you to, try do copywriting, it'll kill you. It really will. The hardest part, and I've taken surveys of the last two challenges, even for successful challenges, the most hardest part was writing a sales letter. Well, I thought about that and I thought, bugger it. Why bother? What we'll do is in our testing phase, write good little articles of stories using the guidelines that I'm about to give you and let people put them into their own words. Now, there's two reasons I've done this. Reason one is if I can get you understanding these fundamentals, you'll be set for life. And you really need to develop a love for writing and copy because, as you guys have figured out by now, the internet in 2007 is all about good content. So get used to it, or do what I'm doing right now. Get used to talking in front of a microphone and creating slides, which is my preference. Dan, on the other hand, is good at both because he's a smarty pan. And by the way, my back wax is doing just fine. Thank you very much. So no templates for you guys, although I have given you some great examples of good copy, in my opinion. And, I wish I could do that. And funnily enough, and I was actually going to do this year, but I decided against one of the things I was going to do to teach you copywriting and conversion is to get you to sell something on eBay. Now, I'm not going to do it because we really need to focus on the process at hand, and that's why we decided not to do it in the end. But I've got to tell you, if you've got something laying about, and I'm just looking around me now, I've got about 480 things which I could put on eBay. And I do. I sell guitars on eBay. And I much more than average because I use exactly that same. I tell a story around the guitar, where I got it or what funny thing happened. And there's people say, oh, but there's no story. There's nothing interesting. There's always something interesting. I've been looking at speed reading, for example. Remember, we've been doing free speed reading right throughout the challenge. And there was an amazing story, and you could take this so many ways, it's not funny, of death row prisoners reading speed reading techniques. Now, there's 1,000 Saturday Night Live jokes just waiting to happen right there. But this is a fair income story. Absolutely. See the news. That was the story. Death row inmate learning speed reading to get the most in. Anyway, we'll leave that there. No need to. I just pitch them up. I'll let you hit them out of the park. So that even speed reading, dull at all when you get man from heaven like that. And I don't care what it is. Another great method is, for example, going onto YouTube and doing a search for your particular topic on YouTube. And I don't put most of those videos public, folks. In other words, you can embed them on your page. Why not put a YouTube video with some copy, which has your key phrase in it, as part of adding some extra content? People love video. It's a great thing. All right, let me give you some guidelines. Now, these guidelines are not something that I've come up with. I come up with very little that's original. This book is astounding. And I earlier on in the year, I read it. It's only come out this year. And I immediately emailed all my guru mate and said, this is the book to read. It is, in what we're doing in this world today, this book is the Bible, in my opinion. It is absolutely brilliant. It's called Made to Stick. Now, I initially thought that this might contravene the challenge rules by suggesting you go out and buying something, and then I realised, hey, you guys have got libraries. So go to your local library and get them to get this book in so you can read it and borrow it from the library. If you have got some cash lying around, very, very good. How much is it? Can't quite see from what the US. There we are, $24.95 USA. I'm sure you could get it at a discount at a Barnes and Noble or Waterstones or Angus and Robinson or bookstore of your choice. It's brilliant. Made to Stick. I've got it in front of me. I never have it far from me. In fact, I think I have about 3 copies, mainly because Robsonville keeps borrowing it and not bringing it back. But it's an entertaining read. It reminds me a lot of a book called Influence, which is another brilliant book, but nowhere near as academic. Just as much great data, but great stories. And all it's about is, as it says on the cover, why some ideas survive and others die. But when I looked at this, I immediately thought of the brilliant uses for creating content on a daily basis. And they actually have a 6-step guideline to whether a story will stick. And they've done all the analysis, and they break it down for you, and they give you little ideas and all these sorts of things in these books. I'm going to run through the basics of it right now, because when you think about it, it's absolutely brilliant. And so well worth going to the library and borrowing it, or indeed jumping and grabbing it. So the guideline fits into a nice, is it acronym? Have I got that right, folks? I'm sure I'll get email. And that is success. SUCCES. Which makes it easy to remember, doesn't it? Pardon me, sorry. The first one is indeed simplicity. So making a story simple is a key part. Breaking things down. Now, in the challenge, for example, you'll notice that I come back to ideas and key concepts again and again, and I try to break them down as simply as I possibly can. Now, again, for 10% of people who are really quick studies, that can be a bit annoying because you think, oh yeah, I've heard this there, move on. But the majority of people, and the majority of people who are coming to your sites, they need things as simple as possible. And if you want to make it memorable and you want to motivate somebody, making it simple is good. You know, and the more you can think about these eBay auctions, have a look at the copy that I've given you in the PDFs. It's a really simple concept. It's a story of a store and kids slipping Pokemon cards into the shopping trolley. It's about a baseball smashing a window and the mum selling it on eBay and telling the story of her day. Very simple ideas. Next one is unexpectedness. You know, and I think that is a very cool thing. Oh, I should say, before we go any further, very rarely will you ever get a story that has all 6 of these. Very rarely. In fact, if you can get 1 or 2 of them in, that's really good. So they're just, again, guidelines. See, but if you get, here's the thing, and I'll go into this in a lot more depth tomorrow, if you don't sell, that's right, you heard me, if you don't try hardcore sell somebody, you can do just as well as the most hardcore used car salesman out there. Just by being enthusiastic, being informative, telling a good story. Because people want to know more and they'll want to find out more. They will just do it. It's human nature. And we're so tuned and so sensitive to being sold to now because there are just so many, you know, thousands upon thousands of offers being thrown at you at all hours of the day and night, that a beautiful little story, little anecdote, little slice of life, if you will, is such a breath of fresh air. You know, that copywriter who wrote those eBay articles, that mum, you know, increased the enjoyment in people's days right across the world. It went viral. It was that good. And that's what's very, very, very cool. So, unexpected, how do you capture people's attention and hold it? And that's a really good thing. And again, anything that captures people's attention and is a good thing. And that's twisting a slight unexpectedness. You know, the whole going from a shopping excursion where a kid throws something in the trolley, and hasn't that happened to everybody, to selling it on eBay. It's unexpected. It's memorable. It's brilliant. I love that. Concreteness. This is one of my favorites. How do you get people to understand your idea and remember it a lot later? And people just, I think they really stuff this up because they skip. They skip over things and they skip into a lot of detail. I could take these six things, and do a 2-day seminar on them, I think, on how important you concrete examples and all of those sorts of things. Any levels of detail and so on that you use are good because they add concreteness, they add believability. If I say to you, you know, there was estimates of the crowd were around 10,000 people at this particular protest. That's one thing. If I said to you, there were 8,732 people at that protest, notice literally the reaction in your brain is completely different. It's literally, you cannot help it. It engages 2 different parts of your brain by being accurate, by having that level of detail. It makes a huge difference and opens up your brain effectively to believing and basically thinking that there's more because there's more accurate data, because there's more concreteness, more detail. It's a brilliant to do it, which also then brings into this element of it, which is credibility. How do you get people to believe the whole process and the information? And again, I think detail is an excellent way to do that. And, you know, people will ask, well, how do I do that just on a blog article, Ed? Well, look, references is a great way of doing it. Like, I saw this on X blog on the 19th. That adds a level. You can say, I saw this on a blog. Okay, that's one level. I saw this on, you know, blah blah's blog. That's a whole nother level. I saw this on blah blah's blog on the 19th. Adds a whole nother level. Now, you don't need to go overboard on it, but it does really help. And again, if you, pardon me, if you're lining up all of these aspects together, they all add a bit. Now, here's a super crucial one. Emotional. We connected with that mother, didn't we? You know, it was just like, yeah, I've been there. Now, there are some people, of course, wouldn't connect to it all, of course, because they have no concept of what it is like shopping with children. I could connect, intensely connect. And there was an attachment there. It was an emotional story. You hear the old adages of people buy an emotion and then use the facts later, the logic. So, you know, each where you have a chance to pull an emotional string is going to instantly make that post or that article more memorable. And I think you can draw a direct line. The more memorable, the more likely they're going to click whatever link you have in that particular article. And then finally, and you've been hearing me say this again and again and again, stories work. Why? Because from the time we are barely out of our mother's womb, we are taught through stories. Our entire growth, our entire learning right through school is story-based. In particular, that crucial first 7 years. It's all about stories. We don't learn any other way than through stories. And that's why it's so impactful when you use stories and you use anecdotes and you use little colourful elements in any content that you create. Any time that you can bring in a story is a good thing. And of course, look at those wonderful eBay articles, those eBay auctions. Just brilliant. You know, really, really good stories. Okay, day 23 action. Install the tracking on your blogs and your content. I shouldn't say blogs myself. Your content holders are what we're talking about. Now, if it happens to be a blog like a Blogspot or a WordPress, sure. If it happens to be a Squidoo page, which is not really blog, it has blog-like. When I say content holder, that's what I mean. I would love to think, in fact, I hope that you have at least 3 of those by now. My preference would be 4. Hopefully you've got 3 and you'll add another one today. Because we really want to be able to test traffic on this particular phrase. And if you use 4 different platforms, hopefully you'll appear 4 times in Google in different spots. And you never know, I wish I could tell, which one is going to, you know, crack it with Google for whatever reason and get into those, you know, top couple of positions where it's so important. So make sure that you install your tracking on those links. And it's very easy. Dan went right through it yesterday. It takes 11 minutes to watch the video, for goodness sake. And again, for beginners, do you know how much work Dan's removed from you just by being able to do those couple of little things? It's so easy. It will tell you so much. I'll be able to help you, and the forum will be able to help you. The 30-day challenge community will help you if you've got some concrete numbers. Very hard to help without the numbers. You can't manage what you don't measure, which is a Deming quote, I might add. Certainly not a Daleism or a Sarkism. And then what I want you to do is use today's lesson and create a new article, use inspiration from those eBay articles to create something for your phrase. Then tomorrow I'm going to give you the secret to conversion, the absolute thing. And it's not about selling, it's not about tactics, it's not about being clever with copy. It's got nothing to do with those things. It's the most simple and the most powerful of ideas. All right, that's it, gang. You've got your example. So today you'll have this video. We'll have the PDF of this presentation and also the PDFs of the various content examples that I've shown you. So to get all these materials, please go to the Day 23 section on the training section of the www.30daychallenge, all spelled out, .com website. Thanks, guys.